I'll get my notebook.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about Twitter. And we'll go through the slides and then we'll do another tour of an actual Twitter account. I think it'll be helpful in this case, just because that way you'll be able to see where everything is located within the Twitter newsfeed and in the dashboard as well. So to start, we'll just do an overview again, like we did from the social media overview of various options for social media. So for Twitter, we have short messages. There's 140 characters or less, meaning that's not words, that's actual characters, so letters and punctuation, etc. You can include links as well as images and videos in your tweets. And tweets use something called hashtags, which uses the pound symbol, as you can see there, to group messages or ideas together. And we'll talk more about that in detail. So the first thing here, we've got a breakdown of what a tweet looks like. So this is a screenshot from Chris Carr's Twitter account. So as you can see at the top here, we've got the username and the time when the tweet was posted. So that's up here. In the dark lettering, that's what is set as her official name. So you can have your Twitter handle, which has the @ symbol before it, but then you can also have your name. So if your Twitter handle is something fun and playful, your actual name could be your real name. Then we have her actual tweet, which is this section of words here. And the first thing that has started out this tweet is a hashtag. So we see the pound symbol and then the words. And the reason that it's in the color is because if you click it, you'll be able to see when other people have used that same hashtag, which we'll talk more about in a bit. Then we have the rest of her text. And then after that, we've got this shortened URL, which is a link to take you to a website, but it's been shortened so that it doesn't use too many characters. And there's a couple programs you can use for that, which we'll explain. And then she's ended it out with, again, another hashtag. Underneath, we're seeing an image. So it's the image down here. And then, oops, I threw a little bit here. There we go. And then underneath that, we've got some buttons of things we can do. So the first one is a reply button. So you could reply to her tweet and comment or ask a question or say something about the tweet. You can retweet it, and that means that you're going to share what Chris Carr said with your followers. And so you can see the little number beside there. That's indicating that this tweet has been shared or retweeted 5 times. This one here is the like button. So it's a little heart and basically just, showing that you like the tweet. Same idea as liking on Facebook. The last thing with the 3 dots, that's an indicator where there's a drop down for more options. So if you go over to the side here, you can see these are the options you get. So you can share something via direct message, and that's the same idea as on Facebook when you share something in a private message. So you can do that there. You can copy the link to the entire tweet. So not just the link in the tweet, but it would actually copy a link to this entire tweet. And you could then paste it, say, into an email or to save it or things like that. Embed the tweet. So that means that you could take this tweet and post it onto a website or somewhere else where you would be displaying a live version of the tweet. That's more something that you'll see if you follow different online news websites. They'll often do that when they're, say, including a tweet from a celebrity. They'll embed it right into the site. Mute is to not see the tweet anymore, block, and report. Those are sort of all if there's something negative about a tweet that you think it shouldn't be there for some reason. But the main ones you'll be using would be the reply, the retweet, and the like button. So the first thing to do, if you don't have Twitter, then you'll want to create an account. So go to twitter.com. There'll be an option for sign up or sign in, and you'll choose the sign up option. So you'll put in your full name. This is your real name, not your Twitter handle, and then your phone and email and a password. The next step will prompt you to choose your Twitter handle, which is your username. So that is what goes after the @ symbol. So just like when you choose, say, a new email address, if you go to Hotmail or Gmail and you create an address, if someone has taken the Twitter handle, it won't let you choose it. So you have to, depending on what it is you want your Twitter handle to be, you may have to be creative to get one that isn't taken already. And as I've noted there, choose something memorable. It's what people will start to type in if they want to tag you in a tweet. And I'll back up a bit. So in this case, if you wanted to mention Chris Carr, it's fairly easy to remember because obviously hers is the same as her name. So something along those lines, whether it's your name or it could be a brand, or some people have it as a lifestyle, like beauty tips might be a user name, but the actual person's name would be their full name. So once you do that, you click sign up. Now the next step would be to add a cover photo, it's called a header photo in Twitter. It's just like your cover photo in Facebook, and to change your profile photo. And that's the same as Facebook as well. So the profile photo is a little square image, and if you don't upload an exactly a square image, it will prompt you to drag it around so you can choose which section of the photo you want to include. The important thing with a header photo is that it be a really large image, because it goes the full width of the screen on a computer, and obviously the full width on a mobile device, but the computer is more the important one. So you don't want it to be too small or low resolution, because then it will appear blurry. Twitter header photos often get cut off by various things depending on what type of device you're looking at. So best practice is to pick an image, say a photo, or if it's a graphic, then some kind of repeating pattern, but something that isn't going to have any text in it that could get cut off, or if it has text in it, you want it to be in the center of the header photo so that when it's displayed on different devices, it doesn't get cut off by anything. Then I did a zoom up here. So underneath your profile photo, when someone views your public profile, they will see your description, and then a location if you choose to include one, and a website. So you want to put in that information. And same, just like your tweets, your description can't be more than 140 characters. So it may take a little bit of working to come up with one that will fit in there and convey everything you want to convey. The website one is fairly obvious. You can also play around with things like theme color. You can change so that, like we saw in Chris Carr's with the URLs or the clickable things for that red color, you can change that as well. So what is a hashtag, which is often the common question people ask, or how does it work? So hashtag is used to group together thoughts and ideas into a sort of conversation, or at least a collection of tweets. For example, today's Monday. A big one we see on Mondays is Monday motivation. So people will include that hashtag, and you can see how in this case it's highlighted blue. So if we were actually in Twitter, we could click it and see all of the tweets related to Monday motivation. It's a way to also view things related to a topic. So for example, Super Bowl. The Super Bowl will have a hashtag, usually an official one. There's always a bunch of unofficial ones. So when you click through that hashtag, you'll be able to see all tweets during the Super Bowl if someone has included the hashtag. So it's a good way to sort of keep up with things that are going on, to be a part of that conversation. It can be used as well. Sometimes you'll see ones that relate to tips on things to do, or ideas, or discussion about politics, all things like that. So it's a way to get involved in conversations as well. And we'll show more about that when we do the actual walkthrough of Twitter. It's also used in irony, or to make a statement. So in this case here, we can see this is related to Super Bowl here. So thank you so much to, and then that's another Twitter user who brought me back a Super Bowl 50 Broncos championship t-shirt. And then the hashtag is made my day. So that's not an actual conversation, but he's doing that to sort of say, that was really kind of neat. What a neat thing they did. And as you can see, it's done with no spaces, all one word. So it's used to sort of make a statement about the tweet. As I mentioned, you can click hashtags to see other tweets in the conversation. And it's also used to determine trends on Twitter. And we're going to get to those coming up as well. So the trends, you could view them based on what people are tweeting out, and they get stored by Twitter and the Twitter algorithm in a list. And when you're logged into your Twitter account, you can see on the right side here, this list will show up on the left side of your Twitter dashboard, and it talks about what is currently trending. And you sometimes will even hear that in the news, that, you know, something is trending on Twitter. So these are what's trending currently. So we have a lot about Monday motivation, Music Monday, Prince Harry. That's a lot of tweets about Prince Harry because we have the Invictus Games coming up, and Mental Health Week. You know, you have tweets about that, and then sometimes they just form naturally. So Get Loud, this tweet here, or this hashtag here, is something that people have started to include on their tweets, and as more and more people include it, it becomes a trend. As you can see, the number of tweets. So Monday motivation, there's 52,000 tweets related to that hashtag. So use these trends to, you can use it to guide your content. So Monday motivation is a great one. It could be especially related into sort of this industry. You could do something that just talks about lifestyle and tag Monday motivation, something that gets people going in the morning, that kind of thing. Use it to decide what you're going to post on Twitter that day. So if you go through the trends and you notice, okay, Mental Health Week, you know what, maybe I'm going to talk about that. So it's a good way to sort of figure out what you want to talk about that day on Twitter. You can also use it to follow an event. So as we talked about with Super Bowl, the Oscars, the Met Gala is coming up. So, you know, that's another one. You can use it to view all of the tweets with that hashtag. So that's what the screenshot is here, Monday motivation. And as you see, there's 20 new results just in this screenshot alone. So every time new results come in, you can click that. It will just keep filtering in a news feed of everything with the hashtag Motivation Monday. So you'll be able to see images related to it, tweets, links, all of that kind of thing. So that's why it's a great way to follow an event. Lists. So lists are used to organize your followers into groups or people you're following. And it'll be more easier to look at that when we actually look at the Twitter dashboard live. But the big question people have with Twitter is, if you're following hundreds or thousands of accounts, how do you see what, you know, how do you filter through that content? And lists are a great way to do that. You can add people to your list depending on, say, a category. So if you want to do something related to, you know, you're gonna have friends or you're gonna have business or things like that, and then you can go into those groups and see tweets just from those people. The advanced search, which I'll show you in a moment as well, that's a way you could connect specifically with people who are looking to find things. So as you can see, you could break it down. You can look for exact words being used in a tweet, phrases, any of the words, specific hashtags, languages, certain accounts. You can really get specific in there and find what people are talking about in your industry, or find people who are maybe looking for something in your industry. So for example, you know, for me, we do marketing with social media or graphic design. I may search in, you know, a certain area near this place. I might choose near our office and look for people who are talking about, say, social media or web design, or somebody, you know, looking for a web designer and those kind of things. And then I may reach out to that person knowing that they're located near our area and start up a conversation with them. And that's the same thing you can do as well. Just gonna take a quick drink. Moments. These are relatively new to Twitter in Canada. It's been available in the States for a little while. This doesn't necessarily relate to what you're going to use Twitter for in terms of a business, but it's a good way to keep up to date with things that are happening. So the idea is that things that are on Twitter that are trending, that Twitter, the algorithm in Twitter feels are important, it will show you in these moments. And especially when you view it on a mobile device, you can look through and it will basically scroll through to show you everything it thinks you need to know. So for example, at the bottom, here's what you need to know Monday. So that's exactly what you'd scroll through, see the things that are trending today, and then you're able to easily keep up to date with what's happening around the world, and also specifically in your location. So tips and tricks. Keep in mind the nature of Twitter. You only have 140 characters, so it needs to be short and to the point. You can use shortened URLs. So if you have, a website link you're going to post, and it'll be google.com/ and a whole bunch of characters, and that could end up taking up your entire tweet. So you can use things like Bitly or Ally. If you Google these, they come up. They're free services that let you paste a URL, a long one, and it will shorten it into a little one. So that's like what we saw on Chris Carr's account, where she had the URL and it had the OW in the front. And that gives you more characters to be able to use for your actual content. Use trends to guide your content. So take a look at that trend guide on the side of your dashboard when you log into Twitter. Have a look and see what's trending today and what conversations you can join by using those hashtags or talking about those topics. Images are important once again, just like we talked about with Instagram and Facebook. You want to make sure that you're sharing images whenever you can, because they show up in the newsfeed and they grab our attention a lot more often than just text. And then the great thing about Twitter is you can reach out to people you don't know. It's very common to reach out to celebrities on Twitter. They may not necessarily respond back, but it's a lot more, it's appropriate with Twitter to do that. Whereas Facebook, you wouldn't necessarily add a celebrity as a friend, whereas you may follow that celebrity and therefore, reach out to them through a tweet. So it's a good sort of way to connect with people you normally wouldn't connect with on a personal level. Before I get to questions, I'm going to jump over to our actual Twitter account example we have set up here. Okay, so if we're looking at the dashboard of Twitter, this is what you see when you log in. We have these tabs at the top. So we have our home tab, the moments, which we talked about. So these are the things, the news things that you can peruse and see what's happening in the world. So that's more for sort of your interest or your information. Notifications, you see the little number 5 was there before I clicked it. This shows if people have interacted with you. So if you have someone's liked your tweet, or they've retweeted it, or if they've mentioned your Twitter handle, or if they've just followed you, all those notifications come into here. And it's a good thing to check it every so often, because if there's something you need to respond to, a question, or if someone has put a comment back to something you've tweeted, it's a good way to engage with someone and to let them know you are there and you are participating on Twitter. Messages, so these would be private messages. You can only private message someone who followed you, and if you follow them, then obviously same idea. But they're not used as often because Twitter, generally the whole idea is that it's sort of a public forum, but it still can be worthwhile if someone is connecting with you and they're going to send you their email address. For some reason, they want to continue the dialogue within Twitter, or you're going to move it to email, but you don't want to post that publicly. Direct message is a good way to go. So if we go back to home, so on the left side, we can see this is a breakdown of our Twitter account. So we'd have, our name, our Twitter handle, the number of tweets, number of people we're following, and number of followers. Trends on the left side here. So these are the trends we talked about. Over here, we've got suggestions of other people we could follow. And then right in the middle, just like with Facebook, we've got our news feed. So this would be what we're seeing for everybody that we follow on Twitter. So this is where you could scroll through to see updates, just like Facebook on the Facebook newsfeed. Now, we talked about a few things. So let's look at lists. So if I click on the profile and then go lists, we have, in this case for this one, the location, which is Uxbridge. We have other Uxbridge businesses, so we use that to see what other businesses who are local are posting about or sharing, and then it gives us a way to engage locally. If we go back to the lists again. We can look at industry. So this would be, in this case, the jewelry industry. So these would be either whether they're jewelry suppliers that we follow, or if it's just people who are knowledgeable in the jewelry industry, that's where we'd see all this in here. So again, it gives us a way to sort of cut through some of the clutter of the main news feed and just see specifically what we want to see in here. So if we look at a couple tweets in the top, we'll start with this one here. We've got, again, the name, and you can see I can see their profile if I roll over it. We have the actual username here, like the @ symbol username that we would, if we were to talk about them, we would tag it. There's the time, so 17 seconds ago. And then we can see the content. So create a beautiful card for Mother's Day, and this is a class they're having at the library. Register, and then we've got a link here. Now this link, if I click it, see how the link is actually a really long link up at the top, but they've shortened it into a bit.ly link, is what we call this, so that they don't have to waste all their characters, their 140 characters just on this. This could even be way more than 140 characters. So the way to do that is they would have their link open like we do here, and then you would go to bit.ly, which we can Google to come up. And then you can see here, you don't even have to have an account. You could paste the link here and shorten it right away. So if we go back to our tab that's open, copy the link, go back to bit.ly, and we'll paste the link. And it's created a nice shortened link for us to use. So then that is what is included here in this tweet, is a nice short little link. So it's a good tool to keep in mind. If you're going to be using Twitter and you want to share a lot of links to things, that's the way to do it there. We'll see a lot of things like this on Twitter. So I posted a new photo to Facebook. This is automatically generated because they've connected their Facebook and Twitter accounts. I generally do not suggest doing this because, you know, there's nothing really here for me to engage with. I have to click and go through Facebook to see the photo. There's no hashtag. Basically, the point of this content is just to guide people back to Facebook. So there's really no point to be using Twitter at all, other than to just sort of say you're there. So it's an option that's available, but I would suggest not doing it because I don't think you'll get very good engagement on Twitter if you do. And again, if we scroll through, there's more bit.ly links, more images. There's another hashtag, Teacher Appreciation Week. So, again, if I click that, now I can see all of the tweets related to Teacher Appreciation Week. So it'll give me an idea of, the content that is related to that hashtag. And that's a good way to be found as well. If you're using a hashtag and somebody's searching for it, so for example, healthy living, and you use that hashtag and someone's looking for tweets related to that, and your tweet comes up, then they may follow your Twitter account, or it gives them a way to engage with you. They may reach out to you directly if you've posted something they find interesting. Twitter will always suggest people to follow. They're based on who you follow already. Some of them may be appropriate. This is another local business. You can see, jewelry makes sense because we're logged in as a jewelry store right now in this account. So if you're looking to find more accounts, this is a great way to follow, because a lot of people find with Twitter, if you follow them, they will follow you, and vice versa. So it's always great to be constantly looking for new accounts. And you can refresh this if you find that the ones that you followed are not, the ones they showed you are not people you want to follow. Just keep hitting refresh. It'll keep trying to find you more. The Twitter search, so that's up here. So you can do a search just by typing in there. So if we go back to our hashtag for Monday motivation, we can do it that way. You could click and see the tweets. We can look for existing accounts. So if we wanted to find, you can put in the @ symbol before. You don't need to. So if we're looking for Chris Carr, so obviously to get the official account to come up, we might have to tweak it a little bit. You don't have to also put the @ symbol in advance. You could just start typing. And then the way to know, so as you can see, there's a lot of options when you type in something. So to know if you found the official account, when you go to it, official accounts will show verification if it's for a celebrity. So in this case, hers isn't verified. But if we go to, let's see, let's try Drake, for example. Maybe that's not a good example. Let's try, oh, Justin Trudeau popped up. See how these all have? These ones all have a little check mark beside them. That means they're the official account of that person, because you'll find there's a lot of spam accounts on Twitter. So if it's got a little check mark, then that's the verified, you can see there, verified account. So Twitter has made sure that is the official person that you're looking for in that case. So that's sort of a quick overview of Twitter. Are there any questions? All right.
I'm sorry, I was muted. What I wanted to ask you was, when you're on, so when I post something on Instagram, sometimes I'll share it to Facebook, but I haven't been to Twitter because I find that the photo that I post on Instagram doesn't go on Twitter. But I just noticed you said that it's probably best not to do that, right? Like to have Twitter on its own.
Instagram might be all right. It's more with Facebook, because on Facebook you have a lot more characters you can use, whereas on Twitter you're limited. Instagram, you're sharing an image, so play around with it. And hashtags are used on Instagram as well. So, it's sort of following a similar format, whereas Facebook and Twitter are very different in the way that they, there are some hashtags used on Facebook. It's not as often.
But what I find is if I'm sharing a photo on Instagram, and I hit share on Twitter, the photo doesn't go with it. It just shows a link. Like it won't carry
I see. That the part of that is because Instagram is owned by Facebook. So, and Facebook and Twitter are not super friendly. So what they've done is they've made it so that if the image, just like we saw with that example, I've posted a photo to Facebook, same idea. The image itself isn't coming through because they don't want to make it easy. Twitter would rather you post your image directly to Twitter. There's ways to get around that. There's apps you can use through Twitter and through Instagram that will post it properly. It gets a little more complex when you do it that way. So the best thing to do with Instagram, especially Instagram using on your mobile device, after you share to Instagram, it will save the image. So if you've had filters and things, it'll save it to your phone. So then tweet that image going into your Twitter app. That's the best way to do it, which obviously is more time consuming, but that way the image will be shown because it's directly through Twitter, the Twitter app itself.
Yeah, so generally Twitter should be used pretty much on its own then, right? Without.
Yeah, it's the best, because then you'll find out better engagement because you're focusing on what that social media network is used for. So yeah, that is the best way to do that. Yeah.
I personally haven't been that active on it just because I don't really, I find that you have to be more engaged on it. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be tweeting a lot?
Well, there's a few views that is one of the thoughts on it, because there's so much to sort of cut through the clutter a bit. It's important just to make sure your content, just like with any social network, make sure you have strong content. So if you're going to talk about something, include a hashtag instead of just 140 characters of talking. Include a link to something. That way when people are searching for things, you'll come up. So that's sort of part of it. The other thing with all social networks is they definitely do have a lifespan, and it changes too, right? You'll think that one social network is starting to dip down and then they do something new and it kind of becomes popular again. Twitter is one of those ones that we're waiting to see what happens. It could be on its way down. That's the general perception.
Sorry.
But it could also swing back up if they manage to sort of figure out what the goal, where they're trying to go. The moments thing that we showed you, that tab where it says moments, that's one of the things they're trying to do to get people to stay engaged, to use Twitter for news related things. So if they manage to do that, Twitter advertising, Facebook ads are a lot easier. Twitter ads, it's still not very easy to run a Twitter ad campaign. So they're trying to sort of fix that as well, so that for small businesses or freelancers or people who are work independently can, place an ad with Twitter easily like you can on Facebook. So it depends, in terms of deciding whether you're going to put time and effort into Twitter. If it's something that comes naturally, if you think about it, you're out somewhere and you think, oh, that's a great idea, I should really tweet about that. It's sort of a spur of the moment thing. We're definitely beyond the sort of I had this for breakfast type tweets. But, if you're somewhere and you see something great and you take a snap of it and you're thinking, oh, you know what, I'd post that to Instagram. If you think to post it to Twitter as well, on Instagram, you have a different audience than on Twitter. If you post it to Twitter at the same time, and instead of, posting the image and talking about from one view or angle, talk about it from a different angle on Twitter, or include a hashtag, tag somebody, there could be someone who's on Twitter, not on Instagram, tag them in it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the challenge I find is, and it's interesting because not a lot of people on this training.
Yeah.
Our generation is just kind of lost with Twitter. And I had this conversation with someone, and there's still a lot of young people on it, which is great. And we should be, I think, going after that market, right? But I think we're still sort of shy to it, where it's a little bit more complicated. You have to be a little bit more active. And, and I think Snapchat is a new one. I don't know if you're going to cover that at all, but I've been trying to kind of learn that, but that's even more interesting.
With all the social media, I think the way you're going about it is a great idea. Sort of keeping tabs on what's happening, checking out things as they come up, like, investigating Snapchat a little bit because that it's, an up and coming social network kind of thing. But with all of them, if you find Twitter is something that you're not really gravitating to, it doesn't feel natural, and not just because you're not familiar with it, but maybe even after, hearing more about it today, you think, what, it's not really my thing, then you're not going to have a great effect there anyways. So it's always good to sort of choose ones that you feel you connect with, because then you're more likely to post more frequently. You're going to appear more natural versus something forced, which it may feel forced if you're using a social network that you're not familiar, or that you're not comfortable with, or you don't really feel a connection to use. Right. So I think that's definitely, advice for any of the social networks. And some people gravitate more to Twitter because of the nature of it, and they don't find that they have any success with Facebook. So it really just depends on, what you're using it for. And what you can do is create an account, but don't follow anyone to start, or follow a few people, but don't actively start reaching out yet. Play around with it. Start with even just doing searches or looking at what's trending, and use it almost like a news service. If a lot of people, things like if there's an earthquake, and I don't mean like sort of the really big ones, but meaning even locally, and people are like, well, that's kind of weird. Did anyone else feel that? That's the kind of thing people will go to Twitter and search and check that out, or the Super Bowl when the lights went out, which was a few years back now. That was kind of, everybody went to Twitter to sort of see, okay, what the heck's going on? What happened? They use it as a way to look up updates.
Yeah, so I do that when I'm trying to find quick updates. I do. Mm-hmm. I'll go to that because I am following certain people. Mm-hmm. But actually use it myself, that's where, and I notice I'm getting followers, and I think it's because of the Juice Plus tweets that are going out, because the company's for us. Yeah. But then I feel like I should be doing more than that, right? Because people have actually decided to follow me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not really doing anything on it. So,
yeah. It's difficult to spend the time with all of these things. You could sort of, spend your entire day just working on social media.
Tell me about it. Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's cool.
So just so everyone knows, on Wednesday, May 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be doing a Q&A for all social media. So any questions you may have, tune in then. And I'm just going to I'll go back to that screen. Go down to there. So yeah, if you have any questions about Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or anything else related to social media, write them down and come to our live Q&A, and we'll answer all of your questions there.
Okay, sounds good. I just took a screenshot of that so I can share it.
Perfect. Okay.
So everyone knows. That's usually when we have our monthly team call, though. Did Nicole tell you that?
She was the one who set up the time, so maybe it was intentional.
Yeah, it might be because everyone already has it marked in, so that could be the reason.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Have a good day, Caitlin.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye.